Imagine walking into like a massive modern conference room, right? Or maybe a huge university lecture hall. You sit down, you launch a flawless Zoom or Teams call, and there isn't a single cable in sight.
Yeah, it's totally seamless for the user.
Exactly. But think about the sheer physics of actually getting uncompressed 4K video plus USB data and audio across a 200-foot room without the signal just, falling apart.
Right, because over those kinds of distances, standard HDMI just, well, it drops off a cliff. You immediately hit a physical wall with data attenuation.
And today, our deep dive takes us straight into the walls to see how we actually beat that physics problem. We're looking at a technical spec sheet from HDTVSupply for this device called the Atlona AT-DSCV-D1111 Discovery HDBT receiver with USB.
Quite a mouthful of a name, but
It really is. But our mission is to decode this invisible hardware that makes modern hybrid collaboration possible on a massive scale. So, okay, let's unpack this.
well, what's fascinating here is how this receiver leverages HDBaseT 2.0 to solve that attenuation issue we just mentioned. So rather than brute forcing the signal over specialized cords, it fundamentally changes how the data is packaged for transit.
Right. So instead of separate pipelines for everything, think of it like a highly coordinated, high-speed commuter train.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, so your 4K video, your high current USB 2.0 data, and your power are all placed into separate cars, so to speak, running on the exact same track. And in this case, that track is just a standard Cat 6A or 7 cable.
Exactly, and they all arrive simultaneously without crashing into one another. It relies on a specific pulse amplitude modulation scheme, so all that disparate data can survive long distances without crosstalk interference.
Which is wild to think about.
It really is. I mean, that mechanism is how a single Cat 6A can push a 1080p signal a staggering 70 meters, or uncompressed 4K at 60 hertz up to 40 meters.
Wow, up to 40 meters for 4K. But here's where it gets really interesting. I have to push back a bit on the core premise of this setup.
Okay, go for it.
If you are outfitting a massive corporate boardroom, you probably have the budget, right? Why introduce another piece of hardware like a potential point of failure like this receiver, instead of just running high-grade fiber optic cables straight from the computer to the displays?
That's a fair question, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, fiber has a major physical limitation. It actually doesn't carry power.
Oh, wait, really? Because it's just light, right?
Exactly, it's just glass and light. So this Atlona receiver features a built-in PSE power sourcing equipment. It actually shoots electrical power backward down that exact same Cat 6 cable to run the transmitter unit on the wall.
Okay, yeah, fiber definitely can't do that.
No, it can't. Plus, fiber is just fragile. Pulling it through tight architectural conduits is really risky, whereas Cat 6 is rugged and, ubiquitous.
That makes perfect sense. The single cable architecture isn't just about routing data. It's about eliminating the need for local power supplies at every single input station in the room.
Precisely. It keeps the room design clean.
And speaking of routing things efficiently, the specs heavily highlight analog audio de-embedding. I mean, since the audio is already writing the HDMI signal, this unit is basically intercepting it, right?
Yeah, it strips the audio packets from the video feed right at the receiver level and routes that pure audio straight out to the room's dedicated amplifier.
Right, because in a massive lecture hall, the display's built-in speakers are, well, they're utterly useless.
Utterly useless, yeah. You need that clean extraction to utilize ceiling arrays so everyone in the room can actually hear. And the receiver handles system control just as efficiently.
Oh, right, the control protocols.
Yes, alongside the USB and AV, it supports bidirectional RS-232 serial communication.
Which is always so amusing to see in these specs. I mean, we have this cutting-edge 4K video and high-speed USB setup, all being managed by a serial protocol invented in the 1960s.
It does seem archaic, I know, but it raises an important question about reliability in commercial AV.
Because it just works.
Yes, exactly. RS-232 remains the gold standard for control because it is incredibly stable.
Yeah.
It's hardwired, point-to-point, and it bypasses the IP network entirely.
Ah, so you can trigger projectors or switch inputs without ever worrying about network outages or firewall conflicts.
Right, it takes the IT department's network rules totally out of the equation for basic room control.
So what does this all mean? For you, the person just trying to join a meeting, this receiver is basically the invisible workhorse bridging the gap between a high-tech collaboration software and the physical constraints of a massive room.
Yeah, it sits quietly behind a screen, wrangling power, legacy control, and gigabits of data seamlessly.
Right.
It truly is the unseen foundation of hybrid work, Without that specific modulation and packet routing, scaling these meeting spaces becomes physically impossible.
Which leaves us with this final thought. As we become entirely reliant on software like Zoom and Teams to connect, you have to wonder, will the architectural layout of our future physical workspaces be dictated entirely by the hidden limitations of a single Cat6 cable? Next time you walk into a flawless, cable-free conference room, think about what's actually hiding in the walls.